welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have another book review for you, and that is for the book Star Wars Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kemp. This is a Star Wars canon book. It's actually one of the first ones I ever read, and this was a reread. This book I first read about 3 years ago, I think, around 3 years ago, and enjoyed it quite a bit the first time around, and been wanting to do some rereads so I can review some books that I've read in the past on the channel but have not done videos on because I read them before I started the channel, and also just to revisit some old books that I enjoyed and see what I think of them now. And to refresh my memory and all those things. And so this was one that I really wanted to revisit because I remembered enjoying it quite a bit, but I didn't remember it all that well. And having read it again, I can see why I enjoyed it so much the first time, and I would say I even enjoyed it more this time around. This reread shot this book up to being one of my favorite canon books in general. I really had a great time with it. I've read a whole lot of other canon books since then, or not a lot, but a decent number of other canon books since then, and this one just kind of got pushed to the side a lot. But that's one thing that is nice about rereading some of these books, is because I can look at them and be like, man, this is a way better than what I remembered. So I had a great time with this book in general. A lot of good stuff to talk about with this one. In fact, pretty much everything I have to say about this book is very positive. I really like the setup for this book. The setup for this book is very simple. It's essentially that Vader and Palpatine, obviously, they're on the cover, which, by the way, this is an amazing cover. If you are able to look up like the full artwork for this book, because it looks amazing, and just this cover is amazing as well. But Vader and the Emperor are sent to Ryloth, or they go to Ryloth. I don't know if they're necessarily sent to Ryloth, but they go to Ryloth to check in on things because there's like rebellion happening on Ryloth with Cham Syndulla, who is the father of Hera from the Star Wars Rebels TV shows. So this book kind of ties into that a little, which I haven't even seen Rebels, which I know I need to. But if you're a fan of Rebels, you might want to check this one out. But he's like leading this rebellion on Ryloth of the Twi'leks, who are tired of the Empire doing their thing and want to, reclaim their freedom and all this stuff. But the Emperor and Vader are sent there to kind of try to squash this rebellion, and just kind of check things out and see how things are going. And so that's kind of the setup for this book, which is a very simple setup, but it works very, very well, because you then have this rebel group of the Twi'leks who are like, oh, Vader and the Emperor are coming here. If we take them out, we can start the dismantling of the Empire just by doing that. And so then it also plays into kind of the idea of the Rebel Alliance in general, of having these groups who want to start a rebellion. And that kind of quote of like, one spark lights the fire of, I think that's actually about the sequel trilogy, but the one spark that kind of sets things off, and things like that. And this kind of plays into that a bit, which is cool. But I really like that setup, and I really enjoy just the general, just everything about this book. But I really like the way this book is just consistently interesting. Like I just kept wanting to see what was coming in next, even though I had read this book before. I didn't remember everything, specifically, but even on reread, I was reading it and I just was like, I need to keep going. Like, I just want to keep going because I'm enjoying this book so much. Very much a page turner. Like, there's always something exciting going on, whether it's seeing how the setup plays out of, the Empire arriving, whether it's seeing, the rebels like start their attack, or Vader and Palpatine doing their Vader and Palpatine things, because you do definitely get a bit of that dark side, showing their force kind of thing. And you also have this other tertiary kind of storyline of this guy named Belcor, who is one of the Imperial, I can't remember what rank he is, but he's kind of a high-ranking Imperial who's not in charge of Ryloth, but he's kind of second in command. I mean, he's trying to play both sides of this. He is a traitor. He is working with the Twi'leks, and he is also trying to turn on the Empire and just try to play both sides for his own gain, which is also really interesting. So you have all these different elements that are doing their own thing, that are bouncing off one another. That was really interesting, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Just seeing how things played out and how, you know, all these three different sides of the story with the Twi'leks, with Belcor, and with Vader and Palpatine, how they all kind of influenced one another, and how things kind of played out across all three of those kind of parts of the story. I also really like the action in this book. The action is very, very well done. There's a lot of space action, there's a lot of on-the-ground action, and it's all done very well. It's really enjoyable, very exciting, and all of that stuff, which is good because this is a very action-packed book. Like a lot of this book is just action, which is good that it's written well and it's enjoyable to read, I suppose. I also enjoyed a lot of the character stuff with this book specifically. You know, this book I think is at its best because of things like the action and just the excitement of everything going on. But the character work, even though it feels a little bit more low-key compared to like some other books that might be much more character focused, this book does still do a great job with its characters. Vader and Palpatine are characterized excellently, and their banter back and forth, their kind of their discussions that they have and things are done very well and feel very much like something that they would be talking about. Cham Syndulla and all of his resistance people are all interesting, though they were probably the least interesting characters in the book to me, but they were still good. Belcor was super cool. I really enjoyed him a lot in this book. Him and Vader were the standouts for me in this book, because Belcor, you know, has this thing of trying to play both sides, and inevitably everything just kind of goes a little bit wrong, and he just completely falls apart because of that, and that is very interesting to see, and trying to see, you know, his plan and what he's trying to do and how wrenches keep getting thrown into that plan is all very interesting. And I really like Darth Vader in this book, because this book not only characterizes Vader very well, but I really love when Star Wars stories go into the psyche of Darth Vader and really examine, like, you know, this is him, you know, however many years it is after Revenge of the Sith, but him thinking back on his life during the prequel era and thinking about the things that he did, and like just how broken he is because of that. And that is portrayed excellently in this book. And I thought that was really well done. There were some very, very poignant moments in this book that, you know, it's never something the book lingers on for very long. Like the longest period of time that is spent on Vader reminiscing about his past is like half a page. And it only happens a couple times in the book. But it's always very well done and very, like, you really kind of feel for Vader. Like you see that and you're just like, man, this guy is just, he obviously dealing with a lot. He's done a lot of stuff that was not great. So it's just very impactful, I think. And that was done very well. So overall, just a lot of great stuff with this book. If I were to say anything that I didn't like about it, is that I do wish there was a little more of a character focus, especially for Vader, because I do think that is probably the least, like, prevalent aspect of this book, I suppose. You know, it's very much focused on the action, very much focused on the plotting, things like that. The characters, even though they're well done, are not quite as deep, and I would have liked a little more of that with Vader especially, and even with other characters as well. But the book is very, like, tightly written and just very well constructed in general, so it's like if you tried to add more of that stuff to it, it might kind of fall apart a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But that's, you know, something that I was left a little bit wanting more of, but otherwise, and even then, like, you know, if you're wanting more of something because it's so good and you just want more of it, that's probably not necessarily a bad thing anyway. So even my one criticism is still a good thing, I guess. But I really enjoyed this book a lot. I had a great time with it. As I said earlier, it has become one of my new favorite canon books, having reread it again, and just had a wonderful time reading this book. I had so much fun. It was just always something interesting and exciting was going on, and it was a great time. I had a great time with it. As far as a rating out of 10 that I would give Lords of the Sith, I would be comfortable giving this a, like, solid 10 out of 10. Like, it all just good stuff, not really anything I could see being taken out. Like, you know, you have that saying like all killer, no filler type thing. Like that is this book to me. Like it's very tightly written. It's very like everything works together very well. And everything feels relevant and interesting and exciting. And it's just very, very well done. And I had a great time reading it. Would highly recommend reading this if you have not read it before. Even as like if you're pretty new to Star Wars books, this is also a very good starting point, I think. So whether you are new to Star Wars books, whether you've read several of them before, whatever it may be, I would highly recommend checking this one out because I think it would work very well either way. So that's pretty much it for this review. So let me know in the comments if you have read Lords of the Sith and what you thought of it. If so, if it is also one of your favorites, if you didn't like it so much, whatever it may be, let me know in the comments down below. So that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.